Hi, welcome back to another episode of Realty Resilience. My name is Dave Nations, founder of Nations Network with Keller Williams Realty. And we have my business partner, Jim Wehmeier, our team's director of sales. Jim, how's it going, buddy?
What's happening? How are you?
I'm doing good. Another great
hat.
day in paradise. I like your hat.
Well, thank you.
Twinning.
I wore it for you.
I forgot my blue polo today.
Yeah, well, you'll get the memo.
So tell us, I know we did a brief episode on some background on each one of us, but would love to dive a little bit deeper on how you got into real estate and how we got to where we are today. So,
Sure.
All the way from before you got into real estate, I know you were in construction and doing some different things. Maybe give us all some insights.
Yeah, so I was in construction for 14 years. My dad still has a company. I worked for him. Man, it got to be,
What were you guys doing?
Drywall. I was a drywall hanger, and then he's got taping and painting and stuff like that now. But writing was on the wall, like torn rotator cuffs.
They wrote on the drywall?
Yeah, exactly. The writing was on the drywall, right? No, but it was body. My God, I had hemorrhaging discs in my neck and dislocated shoulders and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, I can't do this forever.
And you did that for 14 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was 28 when I got my real estate license.
Okay.
28? Yeah.
What gave you the idea to go from hanging drywall to getting your real estate license?
It was easy. My level of education, I basically was either going to go be a cop or I was going to go in real estate because I wasn't going to go to college. I never went to college. I went straight into that out of high school.
Okay. And why were those the two only options, out of curiosity? I mean, there's a lot of other things to do in the world.
Yeah, it's something I guess that would suit me. I can't carry a platter full of dishes, so I wasn't going to be a waiter. I've tried that, spilled it everywhere. I quit in 2 days.
You actually did do that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was high school. It was during ball seasons and stuff, I spilled water all over people. I'm like, nah, I don't think this is for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Little place called Shoney's. Remember that place?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was really the only realistic options. I was willing to go to academy and go through that. I sat down with two people. One was a cop. The son I went to school with, he was a cop, and then his dad was a real estate agent. So I sat down, and believe it or not, I was talking to him, and he goes, man, you're way too nice to be a cop. He said, it'll ruin you. Like, you'll go through some stuff, and you can't really explain it. He said, I would really be cautious. He goes, go talk to my dad. So I'm like, all right, go talk to your dad. And I had known him for a while, good mentor, good friend of mine. And he's like, you're going to be awesome. Yeah, you'll do it. I help you. I'll be, come work with me. It's like, all right. So off we went. I went through that with 3 years. I was rehabbing houses, still hanging drywall, and then selling real estate. And then it got to the point where rehabbing houses was just it was great. And
So was the rehabs your house that you were buying and selling, or were they?
Yes and no. Some of them were, and some of them I was just general contracting them and then doing a lot of the work and stuff like that. So It was just everything. I'd never really took the tool belt off.
What year did you get your license again? I know you said you were 28, but what year would you jump into real estate?
2009, early.
Okay.
2009.
Great time to get in. Okay.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Just
market.
for all of our viewers, want to make sure they know.
No way to go but up.
Okay. So then you got in, started doing some investing, rehabbing, some selling. So what point did you actually get into the sales side of this?
I got on the sales side of it right away. Of course, you're always thinking, I'm going to go in and crush this in 6 months. I'm going to retire from drywall, and then I'm just going to go into real estate full time. But, that took me 3 years to do. So I did all three of those things for about 3 years.
So you were still hanging drywall, and then rehabbing houses, and then selling for 3 years. And then what got you to that point where in 3 years you're like, okay, I can now just do real estate. I don't need to do the other two things. Was it a financial thing?
All money.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah. I was like, well, I can go make this over here and not have to work and still have shoulders and neck and everything else. And maybe in my 40s and 50s, it's not too late.
Okay.
I'll still have them then. I mean, I'm going through a rotator cuff tear right now, but that is what it is.
Is that from?
That's from just lifting weights.
Oh, okay. So. Got it. So, all right. So then you jump in, and after 3 years, you're doing real estate full time. Give us a little, what happens next there?
So, let's see. It was a big adjustment at first because I didn't have anybody telling me what to do. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't doing the,
you liked the freedom, right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that's
for sure.
what we hear all the time is agents get into this business for the freedom. They can be their own boss. They can do whatever they want. Yeah. And so you were enjoying that.
Oh, for sure. But then
is that why it took you 3 years to get into this full time?
Actually, I was working so much on both, and then it was
actually totally opposite.
Yeah. It was the opposite, and then when I was just real estate, I'm going, oh, I don't even know what to do because I was so busy doing other stuff. I didn't even realize like deals came to me, but I didn't need the money because I was working on the other things. And then when that was my only, I had a good pipeline going or whatever. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm done.
Okay.
You make that jump, and then you don't have anything to do.
So year one, you're full-time. What'd you close? Do you remember?
15.
And this is 2009, or is this 3 years after that? So
2012.
Okay, so 15 deals full-time. That was your first year. It's a good first year.
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
Cool. So then you're 1 full year, happy with it,
sure.
Keep going, right?
Sure. So like my early success was luckily I knew a lot of people, related to people. You know how it is. You guys always tease me. I'm related to everybody.
I like to give Jim crap because he is related to everybody in his county that he lives in. So that's where he gets all his business. They're always his cousins.
I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. But, I think a lot of it came with the market improving because it was at such a low in 2009. There wasn't anybody doing anything. And as little by little came in, I had 3 years of experience where I wasn't like a brand new person, and I just naturally, business started coming to me. So I think like that's how it happened the first probably 2 or 3 years till.
And you're all working the database, SOI, friends, family, all that kind of stuff, right? You
that's
weren't working
debatable.
Any specific.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was definitely
you
SOI.
Like
was
cold calling,
no.
door knocking, doing expireds, right? It was all the relationships.
Okay. Yeah, and then we got to 2015. I was at my old brokerage and I ran into a guy. We were David Broso. Ran into him at Thanksgiving. We were serving meals for I can't remember. It's over in North County, over there off of West Florissant and 70.
Okay.
But we were serving meals there, and we just got to talking. And then he's like, "Hey, let's meet." So we had a couple conversations, and I came over to Keller Williams, and then. Let's see, when I came over then I was doing about, I think I was right at like 50 deals, 50 transactions a year.
And you're doing all that 100% on your own?
Yeah.
150 deals a year?
Yeah.
Good for you.
So.
Okay.
That's kind of when you and I kind of started talking and our true bond started forming.
That's right. That's right. So we got together in 2016.
Yeah.
October of 2016, right? And brought you in, and we had all these great ideas. And thank God Catherine was there to help bring us back down and, actually point us in the right direction and keep this thing together, I think. I think early on when we first joined, one of the first things I'll remember is how we combined our numbers. And we're like, well, you did 50, I did 50, we're going to do like 100 deals.
Yeah, at least.
I think it was like 70 or something like that.
I think we combined, it was like 130. We're like, oh, we're going to hit 130 this year because I think you guys were, well above me. Yeah. But then, as a team, and then I think we were projecting like, was it 150? And we ended up selling like 127 that first year or something like that.
So we brought in Jim as our, it wasn't director of sales right out of the gate, right?
It was.
Really took over as all the listings because then I took over running the office as the team leader and stepped out of production. And as we've evolved here.
I think the director of sales role has evolved so much from where it was to where it is now. It incorporates so much more because we do so much more. Yeah. It wasn't the same role as it is now.
So fast forward, here we are today. You're the director of sales. Our team will close 230, 240, somewhere in there, transactions this year, you think, right?
244.
244. Very specific. Okay. Last year we did 228.
29.
Okay. I forgot about one. And
the year
before 230, somewhere in there? So you're running a sales team that's consistently closing 230-ish deals. One of the topic that I really want to cover with you today is really around goals, big why, as you're leading this team, and we've kind of grown this team together over the years. How do you keep people motivated? How do you keep yourself motivated? You're still doing rehabs, you still own rentals, you're still selling, and you're running the director of sales team, and you're married, and you have kids. I mean, a lot has happened over the years.
We just moved.
Started, right?
Yeah,
and
it's
you
really
moved
fun.
For the 97th time. But how do you how do you motivate people, right? How do you keep them going? And I know you're really big on goals and big whys. So talk to us about what that looks like for you.
Yeah. The biggest thing on, you always hear, I think about how I looked at it when I didn't talk about it much. Like, it's just money, right? It's just money. I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to do it for money. Well, then you realize that money doesn't necessarily make you get out of bed every morning, 365 days a year, or however many days you choose to work when that alarm clock goes off, right? So
is there something there that clicks for you?
It's a perfect example. Yeah, it is like specifics. So much of it specifics. Like for me this morning, this is crazy how this worked out because we talked about it yesterday about what we were talking about today, just a little bit. And I wasn't even thinking about it. And then this morning, my alarm clock goes off. I get up, walk to the bathroom because I purposely set it far apart, so I have to get out of bed.
Oh, you leave your alarm clock in the bathroom?
Oh, yeah. My wife hates it. Okay. She hates it, yeah. I walk over, I turn it off, and I walk right back to bed, and I lay down there.
Oh, well, it only works if you stay out of bed. That's the
exactly.
Point,
I'm pretty good at that. So I got to trick myself every once in a while.
You have another one in another room?
I'm not the guy that puts it 15 minutes ahead, just because I already know that trick. But I laid there for about 5 minutes, and it was probably because of a lot of the conversations that I've had in my head from just everything going on the last couple of weeks, whether it's professionally or personal. And I sat there and I had to ask myself this question. I bet it was 10 times before I got out of bed. And I said, what's going to make you happy today? Or what is going to give you the best chance to have a great day? It's to get your ass out of bed right now and get to the gym. Because when you start your day that way, you're on fire and you're going. Yesterday, didn't do it. Didn't ask myself that question, right?
So what happened today?
This morning, I got right out. About the 10th time, I asked myself, I just have to keep repeating it, and knowing, ultimately what I want. Part of my big why, or a huge thing of my big why is I like to think about what am I capable of? How much better could I be? What am I supposed to be doing with the people that are in my life? And if I lay in bed, they don't have a shot. But more importantly, I'm so selfish about my big why. I'm not a selfish person, but that specifically, everything has to be about me. And when I'm talking to other people, especially people on our team, about big whys and all this stuff, it is so much about all of them. You hear, and I'm not going to say it's generic because I wouldn't want to steal anything from anyone going into and making their big why about money. Well, it's realistically about what you want to do with the money. It's not just about the money, right? When you get to this. But if you put your big why on somebody else, that...
For example?
My kids.
Okay.
Right?
Your big why is your kids, is what you're saying.
So I know a lot of people probably, they may disagree with any of this, but what I'll say is I can't get out of it if it's about me, but I could justify getting out of it if it's about someone else. If my big why is about my kids, I could sit there in my mind and justify they're going to be fine. You don't have to get out of bed this morning. Just relax.
Okay.
And then I'll go back to sleep. Right? But if it is 100% about me, and I know down into my core, if that is something that I want and it truly is, what am I capable of? Because this is going to be a crazy ride. This is life, right? It's a crazy ride, and I want to squeeze out everything I can get. If I know that I roll back into bed and sleep, I won't feel good about it. I just know that I'm leaving something on the table.
Yeah.
But if it's about somebody else, you can totally justify it. It's about, I want to give it to the poor, or I want to donate all of this. I can justify it, be like, you know what, they're going to be fine without me. I can do it later. Where if it's about me, I know I have to do it consistently.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. Well, you just can't get out of it. You can't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So when I'm talking with other people, especially agents on our team, it's really, and I love to hear the first people that come through. I want to make the money. I want to do it for my kids. I want to do that.
The magic number is I want to make $100,000.
For sure.
So what is that conversation?
If we're sitting one-on-ones, if we're sitting here you have to have the trust of the other person you're talking to, because if they're not willing to share it or they're not playing all out, you're going to continue to have to go through different levels to get to the real meat and potatoes of the things and what really drives them. So if I'm not sitting here and you and I don't know each other, there's a good chance that I'm not going to get to it probably until we go through some experiences together that know that, hey, man, I'm here for you.
So in other words, like, we start working together today.
Sure.
Probably not getting very far with me today. Maybe in 30 days, maybe in 6 months, maybe, or are you just saying you need to ask the right questions to get it out of me, and you can do it day one?
It is the questions, right? It is. However, if I was to ask you the same question right now without going through a bunch of experiences with you and I together to know that I have your back and I'm with you, and then I would ask you the same question 6 months later, there's probably two different responses, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of my strong suits too is being able to build rapport pretty quick. Other
That's
people may argue.
Your business comes from where it comes from.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So chances are you get something the very first time, and the questions that I'll ask you, it could be something like, well, what are you going to do with that? What's important to you? What's the purpose behind it? Like, those questions may have not ever been posed to them for them to even be able to answer it. So you ask again 6 months later, because realistically, when you sit down and you go through why you're getting out of bed in the morning, like, there's always a deeper thought, but have you really answered that question? Probably not.
Do you think most people are just going through the motions and just waking up and going and doing and just rinse and repeating because that's just what I'm doing and I don't really have a end game in mind kind of thing?
I do, to a certain point, if they're in their financial thermostat. Right?
Okay.
So
how do I know if I'm in my financial thermostat?
What are you willing to make? What are you willing to do?
I want to make $100,000.
Okay, so bare minimum, what if you made 80? You all right with that? Like, what I'm doing right here too.
I only make 50 now, so 80 sounds good.
Cool.
I'm role playing.
Well, what if you made 50?
And I got to work like 7 days a week and all the things, like probably not.
Right. So realistically, your goal is 100. But your thermostat is 50, right? You're not willing to take less than 50, and you will change your actions in order to make more than $50,000.
But if I made 80, I'm still okay with it. It's not 100.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and some people can get there really fast. Like, holy moly, it just hit me. I'm good. Okay, I understand what's going on. I realize how much actions I got to change to get to the goal that I want instead of what I've been currently in habits making.
Do you think there's a trend there, the people who hit it really quick and figure it out faster versus others who are kind of fighting it? Is it a level of motivation? Is it, what if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my house? Or is it just mentally, like, some just get it and others don't? As quickly, I don't know.
I think there's always a turning point in everywhere, whether you started off really slowly. Like, it can get one little thing happens, one little conversation, one little decision or something you went through could change your trajectory if you're willing to be open to it. So I think the level of how fast someone starts, there's probably differences, but the moment, like, the people that started fast, their moment happened earlier, right? But the people that kind of went slow at it and then something starts to changing and it starts to steamroll, they're going to catch up to their goal. Not saying they're both going to make $100,000 if that was both their goal or whatever, but something always changes. And it's based on those questions or getting into it further and further.
So as the director of sales, would you say majority of your conversations these days are more around goals, big why, having these kind of conversations as opposed to I'm in the middle of a deal and I just got a call, we're having a mutual release and now I got to figure out how to fix this kind of thing? Or
you always get, sure, your one-on-ones and all that stuff, you're always going to have the one-offs, and it really will depend on the level of agent that's been through it, because if you need to get into the weeds of deals with people that haven't experienced that, it's very important for them to go through that and teach them how to think about that.
Are you still reminding them of why they're in this business and doing it?
Well,
because if they're not experienced and they hit, stuff hits the fan, right?
Yeah.
It can be very stressful. Are you using the knowledge that you've learned in this to then keep that along in the conversation?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you remind them, right? So we always go over the way that you want kind of your game plan, right? It's always about executing the game plan. And when those executions drop off or we're starting to fall off, you may have revisited it. It could be 2 months ago that you revisited your big why, making sure everything's still the same and it hasn't changed, right? But you use that big why to show the differences of, hey, this is what we wanted. This is why you're doing this. So you still have this at the front of your mind. Because I'll be the first person to say, I'll go through life without even thinking. You know, like so many weeks. Be like, I haven't thought about any of this in a long, long time. And then all of a sudden it's like, so me specifically, I would say, who have you been lately? How have you been showing up, and have you been getting out of bed?
Or are you holding yourself accountable to this, to this big why? Is that something you have to be held accountable to? In your opinion?
I would say that I don't know that there isn't a goal unless you set the goal so low that you don't have to be held accountable to.
Okay.
It absolutely, I think you do have to have it thinking you have the right people in your mind, in your life that will help you get there. Like chances are somebody that's really not supposed to be in your life, you're not going to dive your biggest, darkest secrets of why you want to do it because you can see right through it, Yeah. So you have the right people in there. That starts to happen a little bit more and more as far as, okay, I can trust this guy, or okay, I can do this. You know what? He did remind me of why I'm getting out of bed and why I'm doing all of these things. Okay. You definitely got to keep that big picture in front of you so much because it is, it's so easy to get lost and do exactly what you said is you just forget about it. You get lost in the weeds.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it. And then all of a sudden you're like 6 months into the year and you're like, I know, barring cutting everything else in my life, I'm not going to hit my goal. So it's my job to keep reminding them and saying, hey, you could do this. This is why you set this up. Here's your differences of what we're doing right now for the past 4 weeks as opposed to what we need to be doing to get what you want.
Yeah. Just being more purposeful, right?
Absolutely.
So how are you tying all of that into then goals if I'm an agent, right? And how does that connect into what I have to do on the day-to-day? Selling X amount of houses and making X amount of money, is it just all the same conversation to you? Or is this?
As far as like goal setting?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have my big why, right?
Sure.
I know exactly what I want, but then now do I then need to then create goals, I guess, in order to then achieve the big why, I guess?
Yeah.
But then how often is that all changing? Or I set this stuff up and then I'm not really hitting what I wanted to hit.
Yeah, or that changed, right? It's like you have to have those goals. You have to have that roadmap. You could sit here and say, I would say it's the same thing as like when you're planning on going on vacation, all of a sudden you want to change your vacation plan, right?
Okay.
Normally it doesn't happen right in the middle of the trip while you're going to Florida and you decide you want to go to Colorado, right? So you have to have those goals set up that essentially make it so it's an easy check-in to know that you are lined up heading in the right direction. It's the little changes, and it is 365 days a week. That's a lot of weeks. It's 365 days a year on anything that you want a significant different outcome than what you've currently had. You have to have those conversations. So the goals, it is the daily activities, and this is where you get lost in the minutiae. Is you get in the daily activities, and you just concentrate on the daily activities. Like so, I'll get in my 411, on Fridays, and I'll look at it, and I'll be like done, and then of course I'm gonna be like, well, did you put enough on there if you got everything done? Obviously or did you put the right things on there to move the needle?
And so for those that don't know, the 401 is an accountability tool that we use on a weekly basis, but you're looking at that every single week, and that's what's helping you then, make the small steps each week to each month to then for the year to then hit that goal.
Right. So I'll get lost in the weeks, and then I'll all of a sudden, for example, I'll get a third week into the month, and I'll look at my monthly goals, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even close to what I set for my month. And then I look at my year, and I'm like, ugh. I got to change something.
Get on track.
So you got to change it right then and there in your daily activities, like what you're saying.
Yeah, and it always makes me think of the example that I've heard for years about the pilot that's flying from like New York to LA, right? And the constant course corrections that happen along the way.
What are you off track like 90% of the time?
Right,
and then you
really
get there?
Little itty bitty corrections the whole time. But if you weren't paying attention, the next thing you know, you're down in Austin, Texas, and then you're correcting and going back up, and then you're up in, I don't know, Wyoming or something, and then back down, right? And it's just not as efficient. But you have to make those small corrections all the time, all the way through to get there, and it's way more efficient that way. So somebody has to be paying attention.
And same analogy, you got to have the right tools, the right people telling you what to do or helping you see those things. Because a pilot's not going to get there without a GPS or the air towers or whatever it is. You know
also,
what I mean?
one of the things I thought you were going to say there is environment, culture, right? People you surround yourself with, right? Whether you're on a team, you're on your own, it doesn't matter. You know, your family, your friends, you know, who you hang out with matters, right? So
absolutely.
You have certain goals and big whys and all these things that you need to achieve. You also need to look at who you're surrounding yourself with, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because like you said, when you're going through those, that's probably one of the biggest things that I love about real estate is you get to go through those experiences with people, right? And I'm not talking, especially with the clients too, because then all of a sudden you got a deeper relationship and better friendship because you help them get the house of their dreams, or you help them start their investment portfolio, or you gave them that advice to help them change their mind to get to where they want to go. There's no difference between sitting on one side of the one-on-one and having those conversations while we're talking to our clients versus we're talking to a mentor, because those are all the experiences, right?
Yeah, for sure. Pause because I just lost my train of thought. So we're going through this, right? We've got the big why, we've got goals, you know, all of that, and then you're looking at. It sounds like you're revisiting that maybe weekly, monthly with the agents that you meet with, and you keep that top of mind for yourself. Is there anything else in that you feel like the listeners need to understand, know, you know, in order to really hone in on what their big why is, or keep it top of mind, or any of that kind of stuff? I mean, it sounds like you've been pretty detailed.
Well, I mean, besides like especially writing
I'm wondering
down.
how do you think like this all the time? I know a lot of people, and I don't know a lot of people that think the way you think, you know, and you're always very aware of like the words you use and how you say them and what you say, and you know, I think you've got some training in NLP as well.
Yeah.
How much of that and just your environment and all that have helped you kind of sculpt the way you think? Because again, for me, before I was ever in real estate, to me today, I also think about things totally different. You know, I also read a lot more and spend a lot more time on personal, professional development and all that. Didn't used to, but it goes back to that environment, like I was saying before. You know, what are things that you're doing to continue to better yourself that might help some other people?
You know, I think
keep you thinking this way.
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah. So I think about how I used to think from birth till I started this journey, probably like 26, 27, 28, like those years, right? And I laugh because I'm like, oh my God, where would I be, or how would I, you know, what would I look like? Because I think I would be very, very different. I wasn't on, you know, I do get up and I try and, besides the cookies and cream that you see me eat every day for the little candy bars, you know, I'm pretty aware of what I'm eating, and then working out is such a big thing. But I think back and I'm like, what was it that brought me to that stage? It also ties into my big why, and why it's that part has never left it. Sure, there's other parts that tie into it, but what is the best that I could be? What am I capable of? That was a fire that got lit in me. I was 26, 27, somewhere in there. Can't remember. But it was about cultivating, and it is about, okay, I'm curious. Let's start. I've got so many books that I've read or I've gone through, and so many more that I haven't yet, right? That I've been on that trail for 20 years, you know.
You've trained yourself.
Yeah, getting through and it's amazing when you start to think differently in a way that is to be. You will be amazed on the people that you attract in your life.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, we're about out of time, and I really appreciate all the insights on this. And this has been another excellent episode. Appreciate it. For anyone that has any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Myself or Jim, I'm sure, would love to talk to you more about
Anytime.
it. Appreciate you guys watching and following us. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Realty Resilience. Be sure to join our free Realty Resilience Facebook group where real estate professionals connect, share strategies, and access resources. You can also follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insights. And remember, we release new episodes every 2 weeks. See you next time.